Yeah, we were playing in the top division of crossover. We earned a spot in the top 6 of our conference, which allowed us to be in the top tier. So we played some very quality opponents. Across the 3 opponents that we played, all 3 of them had only a handful of losses on the season. They're near or at the top of their conference in statistical categories and wins and stuff like that. So we had a very challenging schedule. I thought at times we rose to the occasion and we battled hard, but then we showed other moments where we kind of crumbled or let the teams kind of walk all over us. We have so much talent on our team, but right now it's just putting it all together and then believing that we can hang with some of these big dogs. Yeah, we made a couple of lineup adjustments. We threw in Avery Brown, who hasn't had a ton of playing time, but she has been working very hard in practice, and she was executing the game plan that we asked. And the game plan was set the middles. Our middles are so efficient, and they're excellent players, both on offense and blocking, that, at times our setters just go away from them. And the message all year has been that we are a middle first offense, and we've really gone away from that. And Avery had been executing that in practice. So we threw her in, gave her a shot. She played great defense to back up her good setting decisions. And we were able to be competitive in that match. Now, Ohio Dominican ended up beating Indy the next day. So we had a little bit of common opponents between us. But again, that was a very quality opponent. Their defense was pretty rock solid, but at times we looked excellent. So, there's definitely a lot of hope. Again, it's just finding people that can maintain, on our side, people that can maintain consistency match after match, play after play, all of that. Yeah, I think Avery realizes, and so do the rest of the senior crew, that time is ticking, and we're nearing the end of senior seasons for 4 or 5 of us. So, I'm proud of her for stepping up in a big moment and taking advantage of her shot, and we'll see if she can maintain some momentum there. Yeah, for the most part, Jackie was our most efficient hitter. She had the most attempts, I believe, and she did well with the majority of them, I'll say. We put a lot on the outside hitter position. Just the sport in general requires a lot of load on the outside hitter position. So she's kind of experiencing that this season where she is the go-to. She's receiving a lot of serves and taking a lot of attempts, as well as a lot of blocking attempts as well. So it's a lot of jumping, a lot of defense. So yeah, we're just working with her to, find stamina and be able to make it through a whole match, but she's certainly very competitive. But we're trying to find the happy balance of being super competitive, but also in control of what you're doing from point to point. It's easy to get ahead of yourself. And yeah, we're just working with Jackie to be more of a well-rounded player and be able to sustain the good play over and over. The crossover is a very unique experience. There are 6 to 8 courts going on depending on what wave you're in. So it's very loud. There's a lot of cheering going on. There's a lot of people mulling in and around. Balls flying everywhere, whistles everywhere. So, the main message was play to the whistle. Even if you hear the whistle and you think it's yours, just keep playing because it might not be. So it kind of takes you back to club tournament days where it's very crowded and chaotic. But yeah, it's a good experience for our freshmen to see it for the first time. For everybody on the team, it's kind of an experience to see all the other teams across 3 conferences. There's a lot of players across the teams that are reuniting with old club teammates or high school teammates. So there's a lot of reunions, a lot of, networking with the coaches too. So it is a big event, and yeah, it's good for them to have that exposure and see how it is. Yeah, finally back at home, we're starting to get to the part of the schedule where we are home heavy. We were saying back in August that we'll be thankful for this time of year. So yeah, we're excited to have home play again and have 3 out of the next 4 at home, which is nice, not including the midweek away at Northern coming up next week, I believe. But yeah, we're excited to be back at home. We face 2 very tough opponents in Wayne and Grand Valley. They are both leading the conference in certain statistical categories that we're going to have to practice this week. They are, very experienced teams. They've got a huge roster. And yeah, just a lot of firepower and, very talented middles on both of those teams. So we're going to be practicing against their systems this week. And yeah, we need to really have a good week to get back on the momentum of, closing out conference play on a good note. Yeah, the crossover tournament's kind of different depending on each team and, where you're at in the season and kind of what your goals are. If you're near the top of it, then it's really important for regional seeding going into the NCAA tournament. So, teams that are at the tops of their conferences, it's very important to gather some in-region wins. if you're kind of in the middle of the pack, it is a nice break to be able to play somebody new or somebody different. Like the 3 teams that we played this weekend, I had personally never faced before. So it was good to see new competition and just meet new people, across the net. Not that you're like particularly hanging out with them or anything, but just get some new exposure. And then if you're towards the bottom of the pack, it's getting people playing time, working out your roster. It doesn't necessarily count for much if you're not really vying for the NCAA qualifying. So yeah, it's just an opportunity to maybe get some people in that they haven't been able to play much yet.